Hi everybody, this is Todd Olthoff from toddolthoff.com coming back at you with another screencast. And this week we're going to talk about a service that was added back into Mountain Lion Server that was absent in terms of a user interface in Lion Server, and that is the FTP service. Now, FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and it is a pretty old technology in the sense that it has been around for a while, and it's a way for you to transfer files between different computers remotely. Typically it's used by people who are creating websites and things like that, where they want to work on websites, their website information remotely, but then they want to FTP into that file directory structure so that they can upload changes and things that they've made to those files and folders. It can also be used as another way to share files and folders generally, like you would use with AFP and SMB and some of the stuff that we went over in the file sharing tutorial, which you can access online as well. In some of my tutorial series. So this week we're going to talk about the FTP service, how to set it up, and look at how to access it. And like I said, it's a pretty simple service, just like some of the other ones. As you can see here in the server window, again we got the big on-off switch. FTP is not on right now. And you'll notice in the settings we've got the ability to share certain items, and you'll notice that it defaults to the website's root. And so that's the root file structure of the websites that information that's hosted on the server. When we have things like your wiki and things like that running, you have the websites folder, and so it takes you into the root. And so if that's what you wanted to do, you wanted to have access to that particular area, then you have that right here. Now, one thing to understand with the FTP service is that you only are really enabling one share on this at a time. So basically you can choose kind of what you want to share and set that up, and then you've got that one directory structure that you can share to. It doesn't have, like it does in file sharing, a whole bunch of different ones that you can set up going across. So I've got the website root here, and if I was content with that, I would go in and choose the read and write profiles for each of these. You know, if I've got it read only for everyone else. If I wanted to change it to write or no access where they can't see it at all, or read and write, I could make those changes in here. I can add people right here. Like if I just click the plus button, I could add people right here that I wanted to have access to this that are in my users information over here, and that's how I would go about that. And I'm just going to leave that alone because I don't need to do that. So if I wanted to do that, that's how I would make that work with the website's root. I could also just decide to choose any one of the share points that I've already set up right here. Any one of those I can choose to be what my FTP folder would go to. So these are all things that I've already got on my file sharing service over on the side. So if I just click on file sharing just to show you, you can see all of these different folders over here are the ones that are present in my drop down right here. Okay, so I can choose what I want to share, or I could just go custom if I wanted to, and what that would do is have me pick a particular file that I wanted to share on the computer and set up for FTP, and that works just like file sharing. There's no difference there. I'm going to cancel that. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm just going to select a folder. Let's select databases. I'm going to select that, and you notice as soon as I select it, everything goes blank, because if I want to edit this SharePoint, since this share is already over in file sharing, if I just click this here where it says edit SharePoint, it takes me right into the file sharing service and right into that particular folder so that I can set the permissions on it and change what I want to change. Okay, so it's kind of convenient because it takes you over right over to where you need to change it. But that shows you how FTP kind of integrates with the rest of file sharing in Mountain Lion Server. So I'm going to leave that there as databases, and I'm going to just turn the service on. So I click the big on switch, and it's going to now start the service, get it ready to go. And as you can see, it shows that FTP is on by the green light over here. And so the service is up and ready to go, and now I can access this particular folder through FTP. So let's talk about what that looks like for a minute and how we can share that. Here I am over on one of my clients, and for those of you that kind of like to dabble in the geeky side a little bit, I thought I'd show you how you can log into your FTP server using the terminal, because that's one way you can access it. Sometimes you just want to look, kind of log in and do things with a directory structure. I'm not going to show you too much, but I just wanted to show you that you can actually log into your FTP service using terminal. So what you do is come into terminal here, you type FTP with a space, and then you're going to type in your server name. Now once you do that, it'll show that you're connected to the server. It'll show you you'll see 220, which is usually the service. You'll see your local IP address. You see the FTP server. All that information says it's ready to go. Then it asks for your name, and so that would be your username. So somebody who is able to have access, you would type your username in there, and then you type in your password. And you'll notice when you type in your password, the cursor won't move because it doesn't want to show it. So now you notice that it says I'm logged in now. I got a remote system, type is Unix, and using binary mode to transfer files. So in other words, I could now transfer files and things up to my server if I wanted to through FTP. And I'm not going to go into all the details of it in terms of showing you all those things, but I just wanted to show you that there is the ability to connect to these things using terminal. Maybe in a future screencast I will kind of detail how you work through all the different terminal areas, but this is a little bit beyond the home user set, but I wanted to show you that you are able to log in this way. So let me show you another way that you can log into your server using a client. And so I'm going to use Forklift, which is basically an FTP client, and FTP file sharing client, that kind of thing that you can use to log in and see what you've got in those folders. And so in Forklift, if I just come up here to the file share there, and you'll see it asks for a protocol for me to connect. I'm going to make that FTP because that's what we're after. You want to type in your server name right in there, and then you type a username and password. And again, that's for a user who has the privilege or the ability to connect to it because you've opened up the permissions for them to do that. Then you just click connect, and then it connects to the server, and here are all the folders and things that I had inside that particular folder that I'm sharing. And so there's my FTP folder, all my information's here, and I can use it just like any other file on my system. It works just like the Finder. I'm ready to go, and I can access all of those files and things, and I can upload things and download things depending on how I set the permissions. As long as I set them as read and write and those kinds of things, then I have that kind of access. So you can see FTP is pretty handy. Now, I know there are some people who are interested in learning how to do SFTP, which is really a protocol where you're sharing files and folders over SSH, which is another service. And so in another screencast, I'll show you how to use SSH to share files and folders. But as I told you earlier, for home users, you don't need to use that too much. And there are security issues with SSH in that it kind of sends a beacon up to the world, and hackers know you're out there, and then they kind of begin to use that port, because it's a universal port, to try to see if they can get into your server with terminal and those kinds of things. So anyways, but for now, at least that shows you how to use FTP and how that service works. So that's all I have for this week. Hopefully that helps you get started with FTP. I'll be back at you next week with another screencast to help you learn how to do more things with your Mac.